Hello everybody, this is a short introduction to Moodle quizzes. I will give you an overview, and then in other videos I will go into more detail on certain functions. So let's get started. I'm going to go into my Moodle course right here. I'm going to add an activity or resource. You will find those links down here. So click. Then this will pop up and you will see a list of activities and resources you could add to your course. So I will go down here to quiz. I will add a new quiz. I will name this quiz quiz 1, and I could add a description here, but I'm not going to do that right now. So as you can see, there are a lot of different settings here that I will go through now. Not all of them, because some of them are more important than others. Okay, so let's start with timing. Open the quiz. This means when you enable it, that you can set a time and a date when the quiz should be open in Moodle. So students, if the quiz is visible, can see the quiz, but they cannot enter the quiz, they cannot see the questions until this time here. You can click on the little calendar and then you can pick a day and then you can set a time here. So from that time on, students will be able to do the quiz. You can also close the quiz at a certain point in time. So if I set this to, let's say, we could make it 10 a.m. and then we could make it for 1 hour. So I would set this to 11. Okay, so now the quiz starts on October 15, 10 a.m. and it it closes automatically at 11 a.m. on the same day, and so it goes for 1 hour. Alternatively, you can set a time limit. This means that you can enter minutes or hours or days or seconds here. So let's say 60 minutes. And then students will have 1 hour to do the quiz. Okay, so they can start it at any point in time after the quiz is open, and then they have 1 hour to do that. I like to do this. I like to use this time limit function when I make students write quizzes in class or synchronously, because some students may be late to class or so, and then whenever they start the quiz, they have 60 minutes and then it's over. When time expires, what should Moodle do when the time expires? Here I highly recommend that you use open attempts are submitted automatically. This means that whatever the students have answered at that point, whatever answers they have entered, they will be submitted automatically when the time is up. If you do not use this function, their results may be gone if they don't pay attention to the time limit, if they are not looking at the clock, right? So if they don't press submit by the end of the quiz. So I would always use open attempts are submitted automatically. Now, great. Here you can pick a grade category that you want this quiz to pop up in the gradebook. Right now there is no grade category in the gradebook, so you can define one and then you can add that later. So you can change pretty much everything in here later too. This is not that urgent. You can always do that later. Attempts allowed. If you use unlimited, students can do the quiz as often as they like. Now they will see, most likely, if you use those settings, they will see the correct answers, the wrong answers, and then they can do that as often as they like until they got it right. Now if you use more than 1 attempts allowed, let's say 10 or so, then this will be useful grading method. Then Moodle can use either the highest grade or the average of all the attempts, or the first attempt only, or the last attempt, to calculate the actual grade that the student will get for the quiz. Okay, if you use only 1 here, this will disappear. obviously. There's only one attempt allowed. So I usually leave it at one attempt. This way students need to be ready to go for this one attempt. They only have one chance to do this. So leave it at one. Layout, we can do that later. Question behavior. Here I would make sure to use how questions behave. I would use deferred feedback. There are a lot of different options here, but use deferred feedback. If you use deferred feedback, then under review options, this will be grayed out. This first column will be grayed out. So what can students see and when can students see it? So during the attempt, if it's deferred feedback, they cannot see the right answers or the wrong answers. If you go here, this will suddenly be available, right? That means that students can see if an answer is right or wrong right away when they answer it. But we don't want that. Or I usually don't want that. So I'm going to use this. So this is grayed out. Immediately after the attempt, I highly suggest, to prevent cheating, to take all of this off, untick all of this. Because immediately after the attempt, that could mean that a student finishes a quiz after 10 minutes, but everybody else is still writing for half an hour. So at that point, the student may get all of the correct answers and see what's right, what's wrong, and tell everybody else. So you don't want that. You don't want them to see anything. Later, while the quiz is still open, I would take that off as well to prevent cheating. Okay, and then only leave this after the quiz is closed. Students will be able to see everything after everybody is finished. After the time that you set here, close the quiz, is up. That is when they will see everything. So I would use only this because it will assure or it will limit the chances, the risk of cheating. Okay. Appearance, you can do that later. So I'm not going to go into that right now. Extra restrictions on attempts, I will not get into that right now either. So common module settings, I will get into that at some other point as well. So but these are the most important aspects. So again, give the quiz a name, a title, so you can easily identify it. Could be biology, quiz 1, English, quiz 1 or 2 or whatever it is. Have a timing here. I usually do that. And you can set a time limit if you want to. Make sure open attempts are submitted automatically is activated. Put it in a grade category, but you can do that later. But more importantly, make sure there's only one attempt allowed, or I usually do that. And then the review options, you want to make sure that students only get to see their feedback and the correct answers once everybody's finished doing the quiz. Okay. Now I'm going to go save that. So there we go. So my test quiz is now here. Now, when I click on it, you will see that no questions have been added yet. Obviously, they have not been added because I have not added them yet. You will also see when it opens, when it closes, and that there's only one attempt allowed because we just did that. So I will now edit the quiz. Click here. Now you will see this. There's nothing in here yet because you have not added any questions yet. Usually I enter for maximum grade 100 and then I save that because I like Moodle to calculate everything out of 100. Just because, you know, then I can compare things better, but you can make this out of whatever you like, you know, out of 5, out of 10, out of anything, and then Moodle will do the math for you. All right, so there are no questions here yet. Let's add questions. So we click on add, and then let's have a look at what we have. We can add a new question. We can pick a question from our question bank. So a question we have created at some other point in time earlier. And we can create a random question where Moodle will pick random questions out of a category in the question bank. So let's look at a new question first. So when you click on it, you will see a lot of different question types. So you could choose multiple choice questions, true false questions, short answer questions, numerical. This is more for math teachers, physics teachers, and so on. Calculated similarly. mostly for math classes, essay questions where students have to enter a text or they have to upload a text. Matching. Then here the students will have to match items on the left with items on the right. And then there are a lot of other question types that I'm not going to get into right now. I will do separate videos for those. One other item down here, it could be useful. It is description. So it's not really a question, it's just a text you can enter so students see that in their quiz. It could be instructions, it could be anything really. It could just be welcome to the quiz or any text you want to enter there, or it could be an image, it could be a video. So there you go. So I'm going to now add a true-false question just so you see what it looks like. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to name the question true, false, test 1, and I will enter a question text. Is the sky blue? And then you can, format this, make it bold, make it italics, and so on and so on. You can do whatever. You can also put a picture in here or a video. And then I'm going to go down here. The default points is 1, so students get 1 point if they get this right. And so the correct answer is true. Of course, the sky is blue. You can enter some feedback, and you can enter also some feedback for if students get that wrong. So I'm going to save this. And you will see the question, is the sky blue, now pops up here in my quiz. Let's preview this. We have our question here. Okay, so that is just a question I just created. And it has been added to the question bank. Now let's add some more questions from the question bank. You see in my question bank here, I have a lot of categories with a lot of questions in them. I will now go ahead and just pick a few, and I will add them to my quiz. These are multiple choice questions. You can see the question type, by the way. If you hover the mouse here, you can see this is a multiple choice question. Maybe let me zoom in. You can see these are multiple choice questions. This is an essay question, so the icons tell you what kind of a question it is. So these are questions I made at some other point. Let's just grab a bunch of them, add them to the quiz, and here we go. Now, you will notice that Moodle automatically puts each question on a separate page. This means that when students do the quiz, they will see this question, then they have to answer it, click next, get another page, see that question, click next, and so on and so on. I highly recommend not to do that. I would click repaginate and put them all on the same page, go, and now they're all on the same page. This is then causing all of the questions to pop up on the same page, like one under the other. Why is this a good idea? It is because if you are doing a quiz where all students are doing the quiz at the same time, and you have, let's say, 40 questions and 40 students, and each question is on a different page, students have to click next all the time, next, 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 next. And if 40 students are doing that for like an hour constantly, it could overload Moodle, and if the server is not very stable, it could crash the server while students are doing the quiz, because too many pages have to be loaded all the time. So if you have them all on one page, this will prevent server crashes, hopefully. Okay, so you can see here that each of these questions is worth 1 point. You can change that. If one of the questions is more important or is more difficult, you can make it 2 points, 10 points, whatever you want. Here you see the total of points, and I told Moodle earlier to calculate this out of 100. So if students get 3 out of the 6 questions right, they will get 50 out of 100. If they get 1 out of them right, and so on and so on. Moodle will do the math for us. Okay. Now you can click shuffle. Now if you do this, Moodle will give the students the questions in a random order every time they attempt the quiz. Okay, this can also prevent cheating, right? Because each student will have the questions in a different order. Okay. However, this could be also a problem if you have, let's say, an essay question in here or 2 essay questions, most teachers want the essay questions to pop up at the end of the quiz, so students can then focus on them at the end of the quiz. And if you shuffle this, they could pop up anywhere in the quiz, right? So a lot of times you don't want that. Or if you have questions that build on each other, right? So let's say you have maybe a vocabulary quiz and you have the nouns first, then the verbs and the adjectives. If you click shuffle, it'll all be all over the place. So again, this will be useful for preventing cheating, but it may not be pedagogically such a great idea. So let's just turn that off for now. So the quiz is automatically saved. You see there is no save button. It is all good now. Let's go back to my course. And I'm going to go to the quiz. I put it here, test quiz 1. So let's click on it. So it says when the quiz opens, when it closes, and it says it's currently not available because it opens at 10 a.m. Okay, so when you go here in the settings, you will see a lot of different options. You can use group overrides and user overrides. So if you have students who have special needs and they need more time for the quiz than other students, you can set that here under user overrides. You can enter names of students who will get more time. You can set that time there. I will do a separate video on that. You can also here, this is very useful, click on manual grading. So if you have 1 or 2 or several essay questions in the quiz that you have to grade manually, so they're not automatically graded like multiple choice questions. You can click here and then Moodle will show you all of those questions one under the other for each student. So this will make it easier to compare the results and grade them faster. There are a lot of other options. I will get into those options in other videos. Let's go on preview. So now you see what the quiz looks like that we just created. All of the questions, one under the other, are here. Okay, so students will click, 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 and then they will finish the attempt, and that's it. And then the grade will be entered into the grade book. Okay, so this is basically how this works. In other videos, I will get into, let me show you, I will show you how this, for example, works, a random question. If you want to add a random question, if you want Moodle to add a random question from a question bank category every time, that can be useful, especially for vocabulary quizzes and things like that. But this is basically how the quiz works, and I will do more videos on the on several functions in the quiz tool in Moodle. Thank you. Have a great day.